Welcome back to eSIM Studios. My name is Taylor Bell. Hope everybody's having a eventful, enjoyable Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving is just tomorrow. Today's the 26th of November. Now I have a little variety of topics to discuss. I wanted to jump into this new Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, not the Elite that's coming in the OnePlus 15. I want to talk about the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, not the Elite, but their naming is so confusing. It's if it has the Elite tag, that's for the top of the top, but this one, just the Gen 5, is going to be put in the OnePlus 15R. And I wanted to get into some key differences between the Elite Gen 5 and the regular Gen 5, just to kind of know what you're going to get. I know the OnePlus 15R is going to be a highly sought after device, and I just want everybody to be aware of the CPU that they are going to be placing in there. Looks pretty cool. So we'll get into that. I wanted to get into a Google's marketing for the Pixel device, Steph Curry's new commercial, some interesting iPhone, potentially what we could have seen if the EU did not step in and thankfully change some stuff around. We'll get into what that looks like, and then there is a couple of Amazon items that are for sale that I want you to possibly look at if you need new charging standards for your devices at home. I got a couple of really good items that make a huge difference in how fast or just how you charge your devices. So we'll jump into that. But with the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, again, confusing naming. I wish they would make it more simpler. I don't have any suggestions for them, and it's not like they would take my recommendations anyways. But the 8 Gen 5. So what is the 8 Gen 5? I've done some research. I've done some looking around. I have some charts. I have some information that'll help decipher their different types of CPUs and classes of CPUs that Snapdragon has. And here is the first picture that helps kind of differentiate their different levels of CPUs. So on the very top, you have the Snapdragon 8 series. Now, look at the very bottom where it says the italic text is going to be the least powerful. The normal text, which is in the middle, if you look up and down that picture, is the mid-tier, mid-range. And then the bold, which will be all on the right side, is the most powerful in that series. So you have a 8 series, a 7 series, a 6 series, and a 4 series. Here in the United States, you're not going to see many 4 series or 6 series. Hell, you're not even going to see many 7 series. Those are typically seen in devices launched outside of the US, like in India, like in China, like in Pakistan, just all over the world. Typically, you don't see those here. Every now and then you'll see a 7 series put in a Motorola device, but look at the top one because that's what's going to basically you'll be more familiar with if you're here in the US. So you have the 8S Gen whatever, like the Nothing Phone 3 has the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4 8S. So that's flagship level, that's flagship core functionalities of the CPU. And then if you move over to the middle, the 8 Gen 5, which will be in the OnePlus 15R. And then all the way on the right, you have the 8 Elite Gen 5. The 8 Elite Gen 5, when I went to go break these down and look at all these differences, it's an insane CPU. It just a absolute powerhouse CPU. But let's look more specifically at that mid tier. I say quote unquote mid tier. Is it not really? I mean, technically, it's a flagship. Look, I think if let's just say OnePlus put the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, the CPU that's coming in the 15R. Let's just say OnePlus put that CPU, the Gen 5, in the OnePlus 15. So they took out the 8 Elite Gen 5 and put in the 8 Gen 5. I think everybody would still be like, wow, this is a really good CPU. This looks really cool. So, little known fact, OnePlus actually worked hand in hand with Qualcomm to develop this CPU. So it's almost custom made for OnePlus. Now, Qualcomm is going to sell the CPU to other devices, to other manufacturers. So you probably will see this in a iQ device. You probably will see this in a Xiaomi device. You're probably going to see this in a number of different devices, but it looks like it's perfectly made, handmade for the OnePlus 15R. Now, let me remove this and let me show you what I'm talking about. So check out, let me bring to the stage. Can y'all see that? Can you see the chart here? So what we have is the 8 Gen 5 is on the left side and the 8 Elite is on the right side. And it gives you, look, I could go on, I could make this a 30-minute video breaking down all the differences, but let's face it, I don't have that much time, and I'm sure you don't either. So let's look at the basic differences. So CPU speed. Now, before we jump into this real quick, I just want to let everybody know that 8 Gen 5 and the 8 Elite Gen 5 both have the same foundation, basically. Both have the two main prime Oryon cores that make up this powerhouse CPU. So the 8 Gen 5 has the same two Oryon cores that the 8 Elite Gen 5 has. And you can see these CPU speeds. It's basically, I say basically, but there are some differences obviously, but it's basically the same CPU. It's just underclocked a little bit, right? So you get these, you get the two prime cores, and now you see the 8 Gen 5 is clocked at 3.8 gigs and the Elite CPU is clocked at 4.6 gigahertz for those two prime cores. And then you get the six other cores on the 8 Gen 5 clocked at 3.32 gigahertz, and these other six cores on the 8 Elite clocked at 3.62. And then gaming power. So the Adreno GPU, it has a 2-channel GPU or 2 slices GPU on the 8 Gen 5, and the 8 Elite has a 3-channel, 3 slices Adreno GPU. It just means how much fast you can obviously send and receive more data. Just think of it as a highway. If you have 3 lanes, 3-lane highway, you get more cars down the road compared to a 2-lane highway. Similar thing with this CPU. So you got an extra lane for data traffic and information on the Elite series. Now here's a key function, and it doesn't really matter. Cameras. So on the 8 Gen 5 there is no 8K video recording. The max video recording on the 8 Gen 5 is 4K 120 frames per second, and on the 8 Elite Gen 5 it does support 8K video recording. But who records in 8K? Nobody. Who watches video in 8K? Nobody. That doesn't matter. And then the modems. So the 8 Elite Gen 5 has the brand spanking new X85 modem, and the 8 Gen 5 that's coming on the OnePlus 15R has the Snapdragon X80 modem. That X80 modem is the current modem that's in current flagships like the S25 Ultra. This has the X80 Snapdragon modem, and it gets, as you know, fantastic speed. Same thing with the OnePlus 13. That X85 just builds upon everything. So everything a little faster, right? But I'm going to link this in the video description down below if you want to take a deep dive in this CPU that's coming in the OnePlus 15R. If you're considering getting a OnePlus 15R, hit the link down below. I share my Notebook LM link on this CPU, and I have a ton of information, a ton of data that you can run through and skim through and check everything out. So please be my guest if this interests you. We will be covering the OnePlus 15R. It looks to be a pretty cool device, right? Now, speaking of OnePlus, if you're considering getting a OnePlus 15, you might want to be mindful of what color to get. So I'm currently doing that. I don't know what color to get, but I do want to get one, right? So just be mindful of this. There is differences in the build quality depending on what color you get. If you get the same color, the sandstone that is in the Jerry Rig Everything video, that is actually made of like a glass and or a fiberglass plastic. Look, maybe I'm wrong, but all I know is it's not made of glass like traditional phone backs are made out of, like the S25 Ultra or the Pixel 10 Pro. The only glass back is the black OnePlus 15 and the purple OnePlus 15. The only model that has a kind of a fiberglass and or plastic backing is the Sandstone OnePlus 15. And if everybody watches the MKBHD video, he has the black one, and that's the one that's almost indestructible. Jerry Rig Everything has the Sandstone one, and he says it's pretty tough, but he can still carve into it. Well, the black OnePlus 15 and the purple one, but I'm talking about the MKBHD video. His black one, he mentions on there, the only thing that can scratch the black OnePlus 15 is a diamond. So if you want an ultra rugged phone that won't scratch and show fingerprints, almost indestructible, get the black OnePlus 15 or get the purple one, but I'm sure most of y'all will just go with the black. Purple's kind of girly, but whatever. So I think from that information, I think I made my mind up. I think I'm going to get the black one. Sand looks cool, but I want that indestructible phone. I want that thing that cannot scratch. I don't have many diamonds around here, so I'm not going to be scratching the phone. Just keep that in mind if you're interested in the OnePlus 15. The black one is probably the way to go, but I know a lot of people like this sand one, but just be mindful of that, right? Okay, so let's move into the next thing. So Google in their marketing team actually have been pretty busy over the past, couple of years. I give major props to their marketing team at Team Pixel. Very strategic in how and where they place advertisements, right? And I've always said, I going back a couple of years, why don't they advertise in sports, right? And they've been doing that. If anybody watches an NFL game, I think last season they advertised heavy with the Pixel 9 series. This year they're gearing a little more towards basketball. And there's a new commercial out that I thought is very clever. It's really intelligent. I actually really like it. And I think this is key for Google. As you know, they're steadily increasing their market share year by year. And I think it's crucial for them to stay in the sports world, because you can put buses that drive by. You can put advertisements on buses. You can put advertisements on all around the city and stuff like that. But I think to really show your device, to really show what it can do, to keep a lasting memory in somebody's head, you got to get somebody to market this. And Google has used, I think, Giannis for the Milwaukee Bucks in the last year, and now they've got Steph Curry doing commercials, and this one is really clever. Watch this.
For 11, never switched my number once. Every day I take the same 50 swings. What can I say? I'm loyal to a fault. I even use the exact same body double. He doesn't even look like me.
Hi, I'm Steph Curry.
And I start every warm-up with a pass from the same guy. And I shoot from the same spot.
What's up, Steph?
What's up, Curtis?
Every time.
So you can imagine how good something has to be for me to change. Hello. Give my photo a bob. Maybe I don't need to change everything.
Yeah.
What's the big deal with changing?
Don't I make it look easy? Don't I make it look good? Let me get down.
That is a pretty clever commercial. Had me laughing the first time I saw it. If anybody is familiar with the sports world, Jimmy Butler got roasted last year at the very end for doing his hair like that. And it's funny just to see them implement that into their commercial. Now, one thing I would, if I can give any, now I know marketing is set in stone, so it's not like, let's go do this, let's go do that. No, this stuff is planned out like a year in advance. They got to sign deals, they got to pay Steph Curry, they got to pay Jimmy Butler. But what I would like to see them do next year is get into the NFL world. Now, I know NFL guys, you really have to get somebody familiar that people know, like a household name, like a Patrick Mahomes, which I'm sure costs an arm and a leg. But Steph Curry's not cheap either. It's just they've been kind of geared. They've been running commercials, as I mentioned, on during NFL games. I would just like to see them make a commercial like that, with Patrick Mahomes, right? Or anybody that's basically, there's only a handful of football players that are household names, right? Steph Curry's the biggest NBA star minus LeBron James. But I really like where they're going. And I think it keeps a lasting memory in people's minds when they see commercials like that. So I just wanted to give Team Pixel and Google, the marketing department, applaud for a very clever commercial. I really enjoyed that. So I hope everybody did too. Now, one of the last things we're going to get into is another video. It's only literally a couple seconds, but thanks to the EU, if the EU did not mandate all the electronic devices sold in the EU to offer USB Type-C, they put that in effect, I think 2 years ago, where all electronic devices being sold in the year 2025 and beyond have to have USB Type-C if it's a rechargeable electronic device. And if they didn't mandate that, where would we be right now? Well, I think this video kind of foreshadows what it could have been, and I'm glad the EU mandated their USB Type-C act in effect, because if you have an iPhone, you could be charging your phone this way. MagSafe on a freaking iPhone. How? Now, look, I have a MacBook here. It's the first time I've ever owned a MacBook, and it does have MagSafe, right? And it's charging, and you can also charge it by USB Type-C, and it's kind of cool, I mean, but it kind of sucks because it's like a proprietary thing where you absolutely have to have a MagSafe cable, and who knows if they can get charging speeds as fast as a Type-C charger. I doubt it, but I think it looks cool, kind of cool, but then again, I have a gazillion Type-C cables around the house, right? I only have one MagSafe charger for the MacBook. What if you lose it? It's not like a MacBook where, you can just charge it with a Type-C if you don't have the MagSafe. On an iPhone, no. Well, I take it back. You could wirelessly charge it, but I'm just glad everything is universal. Just makes stuff easier for us. So thank you, EU. I appreciate more applause. Now, this rolls us into our very last thing that I want to talk about. Charging cables. I recently got a new charger and a new cable, and let me show you the difference it makes, because trust me, you're going to want to see this on Amazon. If you're in the market, if you want to charge your devices faster, if you want to charge anything with speed, you're going to want to do this. So here's a screenshot I just took. The same charger that we'll get to, but two different cables. So the charging speeds on the left is the Anker charging brick we're going to get into, but the one on the left is with the stock cable that came with my S25 Ultra. The cable on the right, the picture on the right, the 7200 milliamp hour, 72 milliamps, that comes out to 7.2 amps charging speeds. That's with just an upgraded cable. So yeah, you can change your charging brick and max out your charging cable, as you can see, your stock charging cable. But if you want to take it one step further, upgrade your brick and your cable, and you can achieve those speeds right there. Those are insane charging speeds, especially for a Samsung. Are you kidding me? Now, that's for a Samsung, and I'll get to it, but I also have a perfect charger for you if you have a Pixel device. You don't have to spend the $60 on the Google store for this fast Pixel charger. I have an option here that'll charge it just as fast as the same charging standards, but it's a fraction of the price. Let me show you. So this is the charging brick and fast charging standard that works perfectly with Pixel, with the new Pixel 10 series, or any Pixel in the past, but specifically with the new Pixel 10 series. So the new Pixel 10 series, to achieve their fast charging standards, you have to have a PD 3.1 PPS charger. If you see one that says PD 3.0, it won't do it. If you see one that says like PPS, which is kind of rare, those are rare, it will charge it fast, but not to the absolute fastest charging speeds possible. To get the fastest charging speeds possible on a Pixel device, you need PD 3.1 and PPS charging standards. And what do you know? This one will do it. Now, this one is $18. The Pixel charger you on the Google store is like $60. So this is literally a fraction, a third of the price. And it'll achieve the same fast charging standards. It's small. I have it. It's in the other room. I should have brought it, but it's very small, charges it very fast to the fastest maximum speed available. Now, what about, let's go back to the picture I showed you. What about the Anchor charger I showed with those new charging cables? Well, I got that as well. Let me show you what that one is. So here is, and I'm going to link all this down below. This is the Anchor Nano Charger, 47 watts. It has 2 ports, and it is a GAN Type C charger. That will, and it's $17. And they have it in 3 different colors. This will get you the super fast charging speeds, the 7 amp charging speeds I showed you on that screenshot from my S25 Ultra. Now, just upgrading your brick is not enough. You need to upload. You need to purchase a upgraded cable. Now, let me show you what I use. This is the exact same cable I use, that Anchor charging brick, in this cable to achieve maximum charging speeds on my S25 Ultra. This is a 204 up to 240 watts Thunderbolt 4 cable, and it supports 8K 60. You can do HDMI video on this if you have an HDMI. Crazy. If you have a USB Type-C input on the back of a monitor and you want to run DeX, this will run DeX. It'll run video. It does everything. Just plug it in and it handles everything. Super fast, super reliable. It's a strong cable, and it's not as Thunderbolt 4 cables can be very, very expensive. This is on the less expensive side, but it looks very durable, and I use it for charging my S25 Ultra, all my devices, and I run video on it and everything. So everything will be linked down in the description box down below. I gotta run. Appreciate the time. Have a good Thanksgiving, and I might see you tomorrow on Thanksgiving, but I'll definitely see you soon. So subscribe to the channel, and we shall see you soon. Peace.